What is going on, New York Giants fans? How you living? Hit Squad back at it with another video, and today we're going to be talking about 3 current players that I believe will thrive under Wink Martindale in 2022. Now, before we get into this video, I want to say thank you guys so much for getting us to 400 subscribers. I believe we're at 407 right now, and I really appreciate you guys so much. If you're new to the channel, join the Hit Squad, pick that like button for me. You can follow us on Twitter. The link will be in the description below. We're going to be having some more mock drafts out for you guys as we have the combine inching closer and closer. So again, I really appreciate all the love you guys have been showing me, and let's get into this video. So let's start this off right. I want to start this off with my favorite player on this defense currently, and that is Azeez Ojulari. Azeez Ojulari, we selected him 50th overall in the 2021 NFL draft. He is 6'2", 249 pounds. This kid was very solid for us. Now, he did all of this while not having a solid edge rusher opposite to him. Wasn't really sold on Carter. He didn't really pick up until the later half of the season. But, Ojulari had 8 sacks, 29 solo tackles, 49 combined tackles, 13 QB hits, 8 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 2 passes defended. This kid was all over the place. There are some things that Ojulari has to work on, but for the most part, they're coachable, right? I want him to work on his technique. He's a little undersized, but I did see a video of him and Andrew Thomas recently, and he looked like he put on some weight. So, that's good to see, and this kid is young. This kid is 21 years old, but I think that he has a pretty high ceiling. When you look at what Wink Martindale did with Jason Owe, I think that he could possibly get, if not the same production, probably better production out of Ojulari than he did with Jason Owe. I think that Azeez has a pretty high ceiling, and I think that when you look at Azeez's, resume, it's solid, man. It's solid, especially coming out of college. This kid was a dominant player. And I think that he might be a player that Wink loves to use. Now, how are we going to use him? It all depends. It all depends, right? But I do think that Ojulari is a player that can get to the QB. Again, he had 13 QB hits. And when you look at that, I think that if you pair a solid edge rusher to the opposite side of him, whether that's Karlaftis, whether that's Kayvon Thibodeau, this kid will thrive, because those players on the opposite side are going to be getting more attention than Ojulari, and I think that that's going to provide Ojulari one-on-one matchups that he can potentially win. Now, I will say this about Ojulari as well. Ojulari, I don't think will ever be your number 1 edge rusher coming off of the ball. I think that he could be a 1B, if not a solid number 2, which isn't any slight towards him at all. But Ojulari is one of those players that you can depend on, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, I think that Ojulari could have upwards to 12 sacks next year in Wink's defense. I know that's asking a lot going from 8 to 12, but I really don't think that that's that big of an ask. I think that when you look at, Wink Martindale saying that he likes to scheme up pressure and that, he likes to attack the quarterback, I see Ojulari really getting to 12 sacks in my opinion, especially if you pair him with another edge rusher opposite side of him in the first round. So again, Ojulari, this is going to be a solid player in Wink's defense, and I really do think that Wink will have a lot of fun using him, and I think that we'll see a dominant performance from the kid. But let's get into our second player. And our second player that I believe will thrive under Wink Martindale is Xavier McKinney. This kid has really grown on me. I think that he was a solid pick in the second round in 2020, and he's really coming to his own. He had a breakout year last year. He had 5 interceptions. He played in 16 games. This kid was so solid for us, man. It's when you look at Xavier McKinney and the production that he had, you can make a very good argument that he was our best player on the defense last year, by far. This kid really came up clutch, and I do think that he will be a Pro Bowl, all-pro player going forward, and I think that Wink is going to love using him in his defense. I think that you're going to see Xavier McKinney all over the field because he can't play different positions. He can't come off of the edge if you need him to. He can't play the slot. He can't play both safety roles. this kid can do it all. And another thing too, same with Ojulari. He's young. He's only 22 years old. He's a young kid. And I gotta say this much. I like having these players, that are able to play multiple positions. And I think Xavier McKinney fits that to a T. And I think that when you look at the way that Wink uses his corners and his safeties, he's gonna thrive. He's going to thrive under Wink, and I think that he's going to be a player that we see take that next step forward and be the player that we can build around and be a staple for this defense. Now, lastly, we're going to be talking about Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson, I know a lot of people are saying, what? Adoree Jackson over Aaron Robinson? I love Aaron Robinson. I'm not going to lie. I think that he will be a solid player for us, especially if we let go of James Bradbury. But I thought that Adoree Jackson had an underrated season for us last year. I know that he only started in 12 games. He was injured towards the later half of the season. I know that he also dropped a crucial interception against the Falcons that would have closed the game away. I get that. But this dude was solid for us outside of that. I mean, you hardly ever heard his name being called on, and that's hardly because he was really not giving up plays. Adoree Jackson really held up his own. And I think that when you look at Adoree Jackson's film, there's a lot to like. Now, when you look at the way that Wink uses his corners, you look at Marlon Humphrey, you also look at, Marcus Peters that they picked up from the Chiefs. I mean, I love how he uses his corners. I think, the whole man-to-man defense is really nice. I think Adoree Jackson can play that very well. And we all know that Wink really, really relies on his secondary for his scheme. I think Adoree Jackson fits that. I think that Adoree Jackson, while he only had 1 interception this year, I could see him getting up to 4, maybe 5 next year with him being that number 1 corner going forward. But again, I think that Adoree Jackson is a player that can really thrive under Wink Martindale. Now, again, will he be a player going forward that's here for a long time? Probably not. I think maybe 2 years at max, but I do think that Adoree Jackson is a player that the Giants should look forward to in Wink Martindale's defense. But we are going to go over some honorable mentions, one of them being Aaron Robinson. I think Aaron Robinson would really fit this defense. He was very solid for us as a rookie. I got to give Jerome Henderson a lot of credit. He really built up these DBs that we have. Even when our DBs were injured, they were playing pretty solid for us. So for me, Aaron Robinson would be an honorable mention. Another would be actually Ellerson Smith. I think that Ellerson Smith would do pretty solid in this defense with Wink Martindale. Now, for me, Ellerson Smith has some things that he has to work on, but he has a lot of things that you can like. And I think that with Ellerson Smith, being with a like-minded coach in Wink Martindale, he's a coach that can get the most out of Ellerson Smith. Now, another honorable mention was Julian Love. Julian Love, I think that he's a player that has been vastly underrated with the New York Giants. He really does it all for us. Doesn't complain about it. He can play safety. He can play nickel corner. He can play outside corner. There's a lot that he can do. He's actually one of my favorite players on this defense. But those are just some honorable mentions that I think will thrive in Wink Martindale's defense. But overall, you got Azeez Ojulari, you got Xavier McKinney, and you got Adoree Jackson. So that's going to be it. I really do think that those are 3 players that we got to look forward to next year, 2022. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any players that I didn't list that you think will thrive in his defense? Let us know below. We got the draft again coming up, so we're going to be doing more mock drafts for you guys. If you're new to the channel, again, join the Hit Squad. Let us know your thoughts below, and we will see you guys on the next video.